How's it going, everyone? It's Alex. Hope you guys are having a good day. And today we're chatting about headphones, specifically noise canceling headphones, which if you found yourself within the past couple of years looking for a pair, there's a ton of different variety out there. But one contender that always seems to make its way up to the top is Sony's XM lineup. Even if they do still have the naming scheme that's a bit stale to make fun of at this point, they do sound like a name a Star Wars droid would have. They always seem to generate a ton of hype, and Sony's sticking with the name, which I really can't blame them at this point. They've become pretty well known to produce some pretty good, solid headphones. And I think this year they have refined this pair to continue its reign at the top of the noise canceling food chain. But at the same time, I also feel like they're kind of competing with themselves at this point. And I say this because the XM4s exist, the XM3s exist, but after about a month using them, I think I have sort of a better idea if they're worth $400 or even upgrading over the older pairs. And here's a shocker, they are pretty awesome with the cost of some functionality that some people are not going to like or even find it worth upgrading at all from the older models. I also don't think that everyone's upgrading their headphones every single year. It's kind of like you buy it and you stick with it for a couple years. Get your money's worth out of it. So that doesn't mean that if you just bought your XM4s, oh my God, I need to run out and go ahead and buy the XM5s. That's all I'm saying. Just imagine this. It's kind of like how Chevrolet upgrades the Corvette each year. Threading that needle ever so slightly, bumping the performance, not doing anything crazy until they do a full redesign like they did a couple years ago. Same thing with headphones. When you buy one, don't necessarily need to upgrade the model the next year comes out. The XM5s have a brand new design that deletes all the previous copper trims for the most part and embraces this modern stealth approach. Honestly, the first thing I noticed when I picked them up was how light they are. They're super light, like to the point where I've never felt headphones that are this light before. And if you haven't noticed, they no longer have a hinge here. So they don't creak as much and crack when you move them around like some of the older models that I've had before. They have a sleek, non-tactile adjustment, some rotation. Now, while the design change doesn't matter that much, it's not like the older models looked horrible or anything, the new soft touch matte finish is really nice. It just seems to be a smudge magnet though, so if you're nitpicky about that, probably don't pick up the black version. They have a cream stone look that will hide this better. It's a really nice feel, but unfortunately, it picks up everything. So I find myself cleaning these constantly. But for some people, it won't be a world-ending downside. And other than that, they really didn't arrange many things. They kept the power button, the noise canceling, ambient toggle in the same position, and they just seem to have renamed it from custom. Still the same 3.5mm headphone jack, USB-C port, touch gesture panel, and pretty much the same layout that we're used to with the XM4s and the XM3s. Now, where things got to refresh are on the comfort side, which is where I find the most impressive upgrades. The fact that the headphones are lighter now, and I feel like since they changed the cushions, they're more comfortable. Of course, it's a little bit subjective depending on your head shape, size, and what you prefer. The headband's been updated, which now appears to be fully padded and more narrow, but there's actually only padding in the top, which is where you'll begin to feel the cushions. The ear pads also appear to be thinner and less padded than the previous iterations. There's a less firm but more breathable fabric that feels really good. So with the refreshed design, Sony also focused on shedding the weight and keeping comfort in mind as a priority, which is really good. I feel like they're definitely some of the most comfortable headphones I've ever worn. And the fact that they're designed to also have the noise canceling functionality, I feel like comfort and noise canceling go 2 and 2 for a good pair. I still think these are definitely the lightest headphones I've ever worn, other than like an Xbox 360 party chat headset, 250 grams or about half a pound, so that's sweet. And I also noticed the ear cups on the XM5s also appear to be a little wider, so if you happen to have big boy ears, they have the support now. Sony's thinking about you. They also didn't just refine the outside and did some work under the hood. They doubled the microphone array, the noise canceling microphones, from 4 to 8, and they also doubled the amount of noise canceling processors. So that should hypothetically reduce the amount of input latency from the noise canceling. And at the same time, I feel like the vacuum feeling that you used to get with, I covered this in the XM4 review, it's not really there as much with the XM5s. I don't think it's kind of there at all anymore. Where sometimes you'd put them on and you'd feel this like vacuumy pressure feeling when you'd have noise canceling activated. It's far less noticeable, almost non-existent with the XM5s, and the noise isolation also feels like it got a precision bump in targeting those higher pitched frequencies, where the AI-powered mics seem to pick them up and drown them out far better. Like the XM4s and 3s also nailed the low-end frequencies, like the hums and the background air conditioners, car cabin noise, airplane engine rumbles, but they still let in some of that mid to high-end range where the voices are. And I can absolutely hear the improvements here, where if someone's coming up to speak to you, or if you're in an environment where there's a lot of people talking, it creates a pretty weird effect. It feels a bit odd because your eyes are reading people speaking around you, and yet they just pull you out of reality and mute everything around you. So yeah, noise canceling is a wicked cool tech, and these improve on it. So while you can add and upgrade all these different features to a pair of noise canceling headphones, obviously one of the most important things is still sound quality. They can be the most comfortable headphones in the world, but if they don't sound good, what are they really doing? And they really do sound good. They do. Not a generational leap over the XM4s. I'm not disappointed, but it's not anything crazy. Honestly speaking, they still sound good, just not that much better than the XM4s. I honestly think some people might prefer the sound profile in the XM4s even over the XM5s. If that makes the decision even more complicated for you, I think you should really try these out to get a really good idea. Of course, the bass levels and the EQ adjustment is all still the same. You can still do it all within the app. And they sound good though. They're now using smaller 30mm carbon fiber drivers, which I think sound a bit more flatter and natural sounding from the factory. The high and mid-range sounds a bit cleaner, and I also didn't really touch the bass adjustment much. Of course, you can really take the full advantage of these on a codec like LDAC on Android, whereas on Apple devices, AAC is a bit more limited. But even throwing complicated electronic bass-filled tracks, I noticed that nothing was muddy, and you still picked up enough details in the highs where you could separate everything. Same went with watching videos or movies. There was no delay latency, and another thing that drives me absolutely crazy is sometimes with Bluetooth headphones, there's an audible hiss or hum that usually occurs when there's no audio playing on the headphones. I can tell you that when you have these headphones on and there's no audio playing, these headphones are dead silent. Now the features cover a lot of the controls you'd want, from play pause on the touch panel to volume adjustment, and something else, FYI, something I've seen that a lot of people haven't really mentioned about these is the fact that you can adjust volume by long holding a swipe to go all the way down or long holding a swipe to go all the way up. You don't have to be like a madman swiping up and down to adjust your volume in intervals. So pretty cool. And transparency mode is pretty useful when anyone's coming up to you and you want to hear them without having to take the headphones off. It's not as good as the transparency mode on the AirPods Max, which kind of nails that super crispiness and that level of you don't really feel like you're wearing headphones. With these, it's okay. It's not that level though. The app also continues to be fairly the same with EQ customization and a really interesting Spotify integration, which allows you to mess around with playlist control directly from the headphones. So if you have Spotify, you'll probably like that. I don't really use it that much, and I have Spotify. All right, so finally, the hot topic, which for some reason I left for last. These headphones no longer fold. Sony decided to completely remove the folding mechanism and folding hinges from the stems, and you can't fold them down anymore. They also included a different watchdog-style, larger case that isn't really that small anymore. So the fact that a lot of people would travel with these made a lot of people upset that the next generation model made them less compact. The case has these folding seams that pancake in whenever you squish the case down. It doesn't really save that much space. I don't know, it's weird. So if you look at some of the older models online, especially like used on eBay, you find that a lot of the older models, one of the weak spots where a lot of them would break was right at the hinges. So maybe Sony decided to take away that design because it was prone to failure. There's just a quite common occurrence of them breaking at that exact spot. Go on eBay, check it out. And if you can't completely live with it, you can always still get the XM4s, which are still widely available. And would you look at that? They're also under $300, which is nice because it feels like the story of every release always ends with the older models being way more affordable and still retains like 90% of all the features you want. One final thing, if you just picked up the XM4s, enjoy them, don't stress it. And if you want to pick up the XM5s, I definitely think they're an awesome set that you won't be disappointed with, especially if you want to be at the bleeding edge of features and have awesome noise canceling. So that pretty much wraps things up. Hope you guys enjoy the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.